Andrew, how was your Christmas?
My Christmas was good. Uh, we spent time together as a family, which is hard, with us all living across the state from each other. But we made it work. And we went up to my parents' house and we all hung out. And my grandma was there because she's home for the winter this winter, which she typically isn't. She's normally down in Florida. So it was nice hanging out with my grandma for a couple days. How was your Christmas?
It was good. I traded all of my gifts for a first-round draft pick from the Houston Rockets.
Hello, all. Thank you for joining us on Fan2Fan Detroit. I'm Andrew
Sorry.
Norris.
I can't do that.
What's up, gang?
Oh, that's actually worse somehow.
Hey, guys. Welcome to my YouTube channel. New to the intro.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome one, welcome all to the Yuletide season Fan2Fan. We're kind of just coasting through the holidays this week, so we're going to do kind of a Fan2Fan classic show today. We got some football, we got the first couple days of the NBA. We're going to bring back a good old-timey segment called Quick Pitch, and if we have time, maybe some other stuff too. Soccer transfer month is right around the corner, and you got to give the people what they want, and what that means is 5 minutes of discussion about Brian Reynolds transferring to Juventus. So, to start it off, we are contractually obligated to mention that the Lions played a game this weekend, and it was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they lost by just a dump truck full of points. They didn't have any of their coaches because of COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then also because they fired the only good coach they had on staff for calling a bootleg play without clearing it with anybody, I guess. A play that I'd like to point out both succeeded and then also was not called correctly. So,
by the way, I don't think they fired him for calling the play. I think they fired him because calling the play was him calling Daryl Bevell a pussy. That's what happened. You're down 14 with 7 minutes left in the game. It's 4th and 5. Go for it, you big dum-dum.
Right. So playing not to lose, Daryl Bevell calls a fake punt run, right? For 4 3/4 yards, I guess. They got a really bad spot, and then they didn't challenge it or looked at it. Oh, no, they couldn't challenge it.
It was automatically reviewed, though. It was automatically reviewed.
Okay,
it's considered
it was a turnover.
So they got it wrong twice.
He very clearly is over the line. This is the thing. These are the things that happen to bad teams that don't happen to good teams. If the Buccaneers call that play and that's what happens, that's a first down. Buccaneers move the chains every time. I don't care what anybody says. I've seen what they'll do for good teams in the NFL compared to what happens to the Lions 3 times a year, basically.
Yeah, no, it was bad, but also, I don't care.
Yeah, the game didn't matter. We're kind of trying to lose games almost.
So there's where the discussion for the Lions should lie right now is not about a 47-7 loss on NFL Network that 4 people could watch legally, right? That's not where the discussion is, because, by the way, nobody has NFL Network besides for Buffalo Wild Wings. So that's not where the discussion should lie. Nobody cares. Tom Brady came in and beat the shit out of us. Good for them. I'm happy they did. That's what we deserve. Sure, our wide receiver coach was running the show. I feel bad for that guy. The Lions didn't even make our fill-in defensive coordinator available to the media after the game because they felt so bad for the guy.
Which is the right call, by the way.
Yeah, that guy shouldn't have to face – I don't even know his name, whoever it was, the fill-in guy, and I still feel bad for him. But the discussion should be that there is a real possibility that after Week 17, the Lions are picking 5th or 6th in the NFL draft, which is where they need to be. But here's where I've changed. And I'm going to flip and flop and flip and flop and flip and flop before the draft. But this team is not in the position to draft a quarterback. Unless you're picking number 1, which is impossible, you are not in the position to draft a quarterback. You have only 5 draft picks this year. 4 at minimum of those picks, including your first round pick, need to be used on defense. Need to be. No ifs, ands, or buts. This defense needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. And when Robert Saleh comes in here and he says, "Oh, we got 5 picks, they're all going to defense," I'm going to stand up and give him a very loud applause, because that's what needs to be done. If get through next year, right? Nobody's going to be mad that Stafford's your quarterback. Next year, you're not going to tank. You're not going to be going for the number 1 pick. You're not going to be that bad unless you don't re-sign any of your wide receivers. On top of that, you don't want a quarterback coming in here that this young quarterback that's just going to get the shit kicked out of him every game, and he's going to be losing each game by 28 points. It's just not the right way to start a career. So keep Stafford for a year. Defense with whatever cap space you have. Don't take $22 million in dead cap. Defense everywhere possible, and that's what they need to do. And that was my biggest takeaway from them losing 47-7. We don't need a quarterback yet. The offense is fine. We need defense now.
We didn't even have our quarterback for that game, which we forgot to mention. David Blau entered the game.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I wasn't watching by that point, and I'm sure you weren't either.
I was not, which is I don't know if we should admit that, but I was done with that game.
Watching nobody
at halftime. Yeah.
Why? But I don't even know if Chase Daniel got hurt or if they pulled him from the game. That's how much I don't care right now.
Yeah.
It's just a joke. It's just that the season's done. I'm ready for NFL playoffs, which, by the way, we'll probably do a little preview of it next week after week 17, which will be a lot of fun. But I'm ready for that. I'm ready for the regular season to be over. I'm ready to get to the real games. I feel like every team is ready for that too. It seems like nobody's – I mean, even the Steelers, like, they're just going out there and just like, okay, can we just finish this up?
The Chiefs sure mailed it in today.
Yeah, the Chiefs were tied 7-7 with the Falcons at half. Didn't take the lead until the fourth quarter, and it took a 55-yard Harrison Butker field goal. They're throwing 30-yard passes to Patty Mahomes. Not from Patty Mahomes, to Patty Mahomes, which, by the way, Andy Reid, that's a fucking horrible idea. Do not let the most prized possession, maybe in the history of football, run streaks and like possibly get clobbered. Don't let them do it. It's just a horrible.
That's a balls on the table play call for sure.
It's a team that's bored. I bet you that was Patty Mahomes just going to the sideline. He's like, "Come on, coach, come on. I mean, you told me once we clinched the number 1 seed. You told me that." And then Andy Reid was finally like, "Fine, son, we'll do it."
I want to go back to what you said about Matt Stafford. Certified football talk genius and GM candidate Louis Riddick said that he thinks that Matt Stafford should be the quarterback in 2021. And I've been watching a little bit of Justin Fields, and I actually am kind of coming around a little bit on him.
Big fan of Justin Fields.
Or not Justin Fields. Who's the BYU guy? I can't believe I just said the wrong name.
Zach Wilson?
Yeah, I watched some
you're
Zach
not.
Wilson.
Okay. Yeah. Also coming around on Zach Wilson. That looks like an NFL arm.
Kind of interesting. I actually don't know if I would want Justin Fields. The Ohio State guys in the NFL is like really spooky. It is like weirdly spooky and prescient. Like watching Dwayne Haskins today.
Yeah, but Dwayne Haskins was one of those guys everybody knew was going to suck. He just had really good numbers at a really big school, so by default, he had to go high in the draft.
I'm a little worried about that with Justin Fields.
Yeah, but that's like
played 7 games this year.
Yeah, but last year he threw 4 million touchdowns and 1 pick. Like he's, and this year he's been a little bit worse, but that's fine. Everybody's going to be worse this year. It's the COVID year, especially in college football, where it's just an absolute mess. I can't believe they're going to make it to the end of the season. Can't believe they're having bowl games.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wilson is for real. That dude is for real. But you should have the same concern with him you have with Trey Lance. Maybe not as severe, but it's not like BYU's playing huge, tough competition. They're not playing Bama. They're not playing LSU. They're also not playing
North Dakota State,
yeah,
Grand Valley State University.
Yeah, but that's fine. I'm a big fan of all 4 of the top quarterbacks. I know I'm going to be wrong on at least one, but I'm a big fan of all 4 of them.
It seems like with the last couple of quarterback classes, there's like a big hit, a medium hit, a bust, and then kind of like a backup. And I'm not sure. I don't have any idea yet which of those is which, but I'm pretty sure
Who
Trevor
will
Lawrence
be
is going to
this
be
year's
that.
Christian Ponder? That's what we're wondering. Who's going to be the guy that goes 16 and everybody's like, he shouldn't have went 16. And then it turns out, yeah, that guy definitely shouldn't have gone 16. It might be Trey Lance. It definitely might.
Could be. Do you want to do any around the NFL stuff going into the last week of football? Anything you saw that was interesting?
Around the NFL, none of the players care. Get to the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. The Jets won again today, I think, right?
Yeah, that's all that.
Congratulations to the Jets for being so bad that they're actually almost good, and then that makes them even more bad, which is a level of bad I didn't know existed. I'm really shocked by it.
I mean, I'm just like looking over these games again to make sure I'm not forgetting about anything, and there is nothing. There's just nothing to talk about.
Today, this is fantasy football
Alvin
playoffs
Kamara.
week. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was great, huh? I enjoyed that as an Alvin Kamara fantasy owner in the fantasy football playoffs. That was a lot of fun.
Is that the highest scoring fantasy game of all time?
I'm sure it's close. Oh no, it was like the third highest score for PPR. Because he got 57 points and the record is like 61 or something. It was up there. It was one of the all-time greatest fantasy football games. And he's going to get fined for wearing red and green shoes, it sounds like, too, which is also very Grinch-like by the NFL.
Like, hey, NFL, you're welcome. I was the one thing NFL fans had to talk about this weekend.
Yeah.
But sorry, my shoes were the wrong color. Take my money. It's just so stupid. Dress codes, I hate it. Anyways, let's talk basketball. I'm good on that.
Yeah, let's spend a lot more time today on basketball.
We got football next week.
The first two games for most NBA teams have been played. There's a few going on right now, and we're trying to I'm trying to form an opinion on LaMelo Ball, but it's been tough because I don't know if you noticed this, Andrew, but NBA League Pass sucks.
It does suck. I had a friend tell me in just little font on the bottom of the screen one time that it's really bad, and like it's hard. Well, on top of that, we don't have premium yet, so we can't watch NBA TV. So that means the Hornets are blocking out. But the real reason it's hard to tell if LaMelo Ball is any good is because he's going to play 20 minutes in this game again. And I get it. Terry Rozier went crazy in the first game, and he was like okay today. But like, get LaMelo Ball some minutes over Terry Rozier. He doesn't even have to play more, but it shouldn't be the difference of 10 or 15 minutes a game. Terry Rozier shouldn't be playing 35, and Melo should be playing 20. He's too good for that. And this team is investing their entire future. He is the cornerstone of that team. Everybody else is complimentary right now, at best. But I do think he's going to be really good. Other rookies, I mean, Isaac Okoro has stood out a little bit.
So Isaac Okoro in 44 minutes in the double overtime game last night had 0 points, 0 assists, and 3 rebounds.
Why isn't he playing? He's not. Did he get hurt or something?
No, he did. He played 44 minutes.
No, tonight he's not even like listed on their sheet.
Oh, I don't know.
No, I'm saying defensively he stood out.
Oh, sure.
He is going to be a damn good defender. But let's get to it. Killian Hayes, 21 and 22 minutes. Dwayne Casey decides to go in a double overtime game and play Derrick Rose 22 minutes in a row. And Derrick Rose sucked in overtime. Every single time at the end of the fourth quarter, the beginning of the first overtime, and the beginning of the second overtime, Pistons went out and would get a 7-8 point lead. And then Derrick Rose would come down the court 3 times in a row and turn it over or take a stupid floater with 3 guys on him and screw it up every time. Now, me watching the game, I was like, ooh, Cade Cunningham, here we come. But realistically, Dwayne Casey, what are you doing? Saddiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, Killian Hayes have did combine against the Cavaliers for 26 total minutes in a double overtime game in a season that the only point of this season is to get those guys minutes and to get those guys better. That's it. That's the only point. Even to the point where Dwayne Casey came out today, and I think he realized he was wrong. The quote was, "This season is to feed minutes to Killian, Saddiq, and Isaiah. If we're sitting here at the end of the season and in the same situation, then it's a shame on me." So I think he's realizing his mistakes. But there is no reason at any point for the season for one, D Rose to play 22 consecutive minutes. You want to trade him at the trade deadline. And two, for Killian Hayes not to be getting 25 minutes at least in a double OT game and not playing at all in crunch time. That's the most important thing for a young point guard to learn. How to handle the moment, how to handle the pressure, how to handle being the primary ball handler in a 2-point game with 27 seconds left. That's the most important thing that's going to come out of this for Killian, other than just like understanding what it's like to be in the NBA. What are your thoughts on that?
So, yeah, this is a great week for the Cade Cunningham watch because we lost close games to both the Timberwolves and a double overtime game to the Cavs, both of whom project as bottom 10, and that might be generous teams
To the
in the
Cavs
NBA.
especially.
Yeah, well, I actually kind of was intrigued by what the Cavs have been doing. The Pistons cannot guard athletic point guards. They couldn't guard Anthony Edwards, and they really couldn't guard Colin Sexton or Darius Garland, which is not going to be good when we play against good teams. So I think the one thing we know for sure is that we're about to strap in for a season of losing, whether on purpose or not on purpose. I thought that Isaiah Stewart getting 0 minutes was the big miss for me for Casey. I don't need to see as much Jahlil Okafor. He's
Jahlil Okafor.
It's
He's
fine.
not going to be Christian Wood. He's not.
Yeah.
Josh Jackson could be your Christian Wood, but it's not going to be Okafor.
Yeah, Josh Jackson was really, really great in the first game and good, not great in the second game. Jeremy Grant was like the opposite. He was good, not great in game 1, and then great in game 2. They're gonna be a weird team, and there's seriously, they have 12 guys who could be playing. So there's going to be some weird minute stuff this year. I think that the first half of the season is going to be kind of a crapshoot, like game to game as far as minutes go, because you have to get all of those guys out there. Like DeLon Wright, like some nights he's going to be lighting it up. And honestly, Killian to me looks very much like a project. He's not quick enough at the NBA level yet. He's just not. The passing is close. The defense is...
He had a couple of nasty passes yesterday, dude. Guys just finishing them. But the passing, I think, is there.
I think we're in for a roller coaster ride big time with Sekou this year. He's going to be
fine.
2 for 11 one night and then 8 for 12 the next.
As long as those 8 for 12s are sprinkled in, I'm happy.
Yeah. I can't believe that we didn't give Sekou the Jason Tatum is still 19 years old award, because I've already heard it like 4 times this year about Sekou's age. We really messed with the predictees. We really got that one wrong.
Well, it really is amazing that he just turned 20 years old. Like, I know he's only in his second year, but like that dude was 18 when the season started last year.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough. I would like to see more Isaiah Stewart. That's the one thing where I was like, why isn't he even seeing the floor? But on the flip side, like, I genuinely get it's kind of a clogged roster. You know, last night we were recording this on Sunday, of course, Saturday. It really was the Blake and D Rose show against the Cavs. Nobody else could really get anything going except for maybe Jeremy Grant hitting some open shots, but it really was, and I think that weighs into the decision to play D Rose that deep into second overtime. Is that seriously they were the only people who could get baskets. You know, it was really tough to find offense outside of those two guys.
Well, and not to mention the minutes that Sadiq Bey did get, the whole 6 minutes, he doesn't play him the whole game, and then he throws him in crunch time with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Yeah. And then he makes 2 mistakes and he takes him out. It's like, yeah, dude, that guy's been sitting on the bench for 2 hours.
Yeah.
The only
first NBA game.
Yeah, like what do you think's gonna happen if you? That's not a good position to put the kid in. It's not at all. Jahlil Okafor, by the way, it does not, in my opinion, equate. And I know you weren't just strictly talking about him, but does not equate to a clogged roster. Jahlil Okafor might be the worst defender in the NBA. He has moments where you go, damn, why isn't that guy better? Because his footwork is a thing of beauty on offense. His offense is good, but it doesn't matter. He is what he is. He's the same guy he was when he was 19 years old, and that's who he'll always be. He's undersized, he's a little weak, and he's slow.
Doesn't really have much of a finishing touch either.
And then he does the opposite thing that Isaiah Stewart would do. Isaiah Stewart is going to come in and energize everybody, boost everybody. When Jahlil Okafor is in the game, it drags everybody down. When it comes to Killian, I think that we're going to see a similar progression to what we saw during the preseason. game 1, game 2, or game 1.5, really. He's super hesitant. He knows he's a rookie. He's not trying to take away shots from the guys who have earned it. And then all of a sudden he started shooting step backs and mixing it up a little bit, which is the beauty of his game. He has the ability to mix it up all over the place, keep guys on their toes, keep them confused. But it started with none of that. And that's how the regular season has started. And I think once he gets that confidence, once he feels like he belongs, that's when you're going to see a small leap. Obviously, it's going to be a slow roll throughout the whole year of him just getting better and better and better. But he's good enough for NBA minutes right now. Mm-hmm. No summer league, barely a training camp, a shortened preseason, and he's good enough to be on the floor, which should make you super happy and excited as a Pistons fan.
Josh Jackson was really good. I am very, very intrigued to see more Josh Jackson.
Yes, that I am as excited for him this year as anybody. People forget this is a number 3 pick from 4 years ago.
Absolutely.
I mean, the guy, superstar potential coming into the draft. Is he going to be a superstar? No, probably not. But could he be a really damn good player defensively, especially? Yeah, for sure. And he probably will be. Just from what I've seen in the preseason and so far here in the regular season.
He put up like 26 and 15 or something in the first 2 games. I mean, if you're getting 15 points a game from Josh Jackson, that's huge. The whole selling point is his defense.
He put up 19 the first game and only 6 on Saturday.
Okay.
But
that makes sense.
But, I mean, 19 from him. Even if you're getting 12, 13 points a game on good percentages with his lockdown defense and really good athleticism. And by the way, he's rebounding the ball. He had 8 rebounds Saturday night.
Yep.
Something for you to be excited about. That's what I love, man. That's what I love about a rebuild in the NBA. There's always going to be, if you're rebuilding and you've already, except for maybe that first year where you don't have your high draft pick, there's pretty much always going to be something to watch for and to be excited about as far as growth of players goes and what it's going to look like for your future. And this Pistons team has plenty of that. We're going to see over this next year or two the identity that Troy Weaver is going to want to build this team around. We're already kind of seeing it with Jeremy Grant. And even Plumlee, who's played really well in the first 2 games.
Shh. We gotta whisper that into the mic. Whisper very quietly that Plumlee was really solid.
Well, me and you came on here right after the signing and said, okay, I'm not ecstatic about it, but calm down, everybody.
Yeah, he's been worth $8.5 million. That's what those guys look like.
Yes, for sure. I mean, we used to pay Boban $8 million, and nobody said a word about it.
Well, that's for jersey sales and memes. You got to pay extra for that with Boban.
But Blake looks healthy. Blake looks really healthy. This looks like Blake from 2 years ago.
Yep.
And if he can hold this up for 3 more months, we're not only going to trade him, we're going to get an asset back. It'll be from a good team. It won't be a crazy asset, but we'll get something back. D Rose is going to be traded for an asset. There is so many avenues for this team to grow over the next 2 years. So many.
D Rose looks better than he did last year. Outside of that overtime stretch, in those first 2 games, seriously looked great, really good.
I know. I just don't want him. I know people say Killian's going to learn from D Rose. He is, and I'm sure there is a bit of that. I also think there's a very strong possibility that D Rose holds back Killian in a lot of ways. D Rose is a chucker. I mean, he's a chucker who on a lot of nights can be super efficient. So he's not like a true chucker. He's not J.R. Smith. He shoots a lot. The ball's in his hands a ton. The team revolves around him when he's on the floor. There are so many point guards in this league. You could play with Killian Hayes also on the floor. And Derrick Rose, that's tough. That's tough. And not because of Killian Hayes, because of Derrick Rose and how Derrick Rose plays, it gets rid of, or at least holds down, a lot of the abilities that Killian Hayes has.
Kind of a defensive liability, which I think we're going to see a lot through the course of the season.
Yeah. I'm also very excited about Jeremy Grant. I mean,
me too.
He's cool, and especially on defense.
Everybody's playing well and exceeding expectations, and yet we're 0-2 against 2 bad teams. I don't know, man.
That's the most perfect thing I've ever heard in my life. Hopefully they're 0-6 in a week.
Do you want to do some NBA awards since we haven't done them yet?
Yeah. Which one do you want to start with? Do you want to start from the top, go to the bottom, or start from the bottom, go to the top?
Let's start from the top. Started from the top, and now we're there.
They were there? Okay. Give me your MVP first. I want to hear yours.
So we're just gonna pick them straight up. We're not gonna do odds. But I do for MVP. I do have a couple of interesting choices. I think it's gonna be Giannis.
3 in a row. No voter fatigue.
That's what I see. That's what I like. If the Bucks are as good a regular season team as they've been over the last couple of years, outside of unless it's like 100% Kevin Durant, that's the only thing I can see like getting in his way. I just don't think LeBron's at that point anymore. I think he's like just like 5% below that, and I don't think Anthony Davis is there either because he's playing with LeBron. I kind of think those two might cancel each other out for MVP specifically. And I think the only other thing that contends is like an elite Steph Curry season, which we have not seen so far.
And even with an elite Steph Curry season, that team's not going to be good enough. That team's not making the playoffs. The talent is not there. The roster's not good enough.
It's been a little stumbly. They've stumbled out of the gates.
Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins took 21 3-pointers combined the other night. They're not making the playoffs.
James Wiseman's been really, really good.
Yes,
I really like James Wiseman.
Looks awesome. My pick is Luka. I don't want to say people were sleeping in the general or the normal way of saying that on Luka last year, but people were sleeping on Luka from an aspect of we knew he was good, but I don't think any of us were like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be a top 20 player of all time. And now all of us are like, no, the top 20, that feels a little low. Like that feels on the low end. I mean, we saw him take a Clippers team basically by himself with some help from Michigan's own Trey Burke and Tim Hardaway Jr. To 6 games in the playoffs. I think he's going to average close to 30 points a game. I think the 3-point percentage is going to go up. He's already one of the best playmakers in the league. He rebounds the hell out of the ball. And if he improves even half as much on defense as he improved from his first year into last year, he turns into like a above average defender. I don't know if he's quite good, but above average. So my pick for MVP is Luka, and I think he might run away with it. And Giannis can compete, but I think voter fatigue is super real, and I think people want to vote for Luka for MVP.
I still kind of think that I feel that amongst the average NBA fan with Luka, where people don't give him the credit for having top 20 of all time potential.
He's white.
Okay, that let's on the pie chart of reasons why that might be. I would say that is like maybe 40 to 50% of it. I also include the fact that he plays in Dallas, and I don't think a lot of people get to see him play all that often. I include the fact that he's from Europe. And I think that is on top of like his whiteness, another reason why people are hesitant to do it outside of Giannis, which is different. He's not physically imposing the way that like a lot of NBA players who are elite are.
I think he's not necessarily vertically imposing. I think he is physically imposing. That dude is a tree trunk. That dude can lower his shoulder into you and knock you 6 feet back. He is strong as hell.
It's like a fullback?
Yes. A fullback with the sweetest touch.
Pad level.
Yes, dude. I mean, seriously, that guy in the post is pretty much as good as anybody in basketball.
They're going to need to win a lot of games, and I don't know if the team is quite there yet for them to do that. I don't know what Porzingis we're going to get this year.
When we'll get Porzingis.
Right, exactly. If we get, how many games is the season this year?
But that only is 72.
62,
but that only
72?
72. But the Porzingis thing only boosts Luka's case. If Porzingis misses 28 games and they're 20-8 or 19-9, he's already in the lead for the MVP already.
Yeah.
So,
I think the Bucks could still win 50 games this year.
Oh, for
if
sure.
Not 55.
50 and 22. I think there's a chance there's a 60 and 12 team somewhere in there. The only thing I think that really holds it back is I think there's going to be a lot of resting from the really good teams. And every year we get more and more conscious of how important that is. And it is. Like load management is important. We see guys get tired in the playoffs every year. Even with the 4 months off, by the time the Heat got to the finals, and I know Jimmy Butler was absolutely putting that team on his back, but by the end of the 48 minutes of each and every one of those games, Jimmy Butler looked like he was about to die.
Sure. So the NBA has only released half of the schedule this year, and I think that part of that is that they're going to kind of wait and see how it goes before they release the back half and try to make sure that some of that load management stuff is built in to the back half of the schedule.
Because they're just so much damn smarter than everybody else, and they know
they're just so much damn smarter than everybody else.
And I mean, they canceled the game on the first day of the season, and nobody's even worried about it because they're just so good at this stuff. They will get it figured out. There is a zero, especially. I mean, I know we're getting towards the end of this whole COVID thing. Like we're getting there. We really are.
Careful.
We can see the light. The vaccine's coming. We can see the light. But like there is a 0% chance this season's getting canceled or delayed or 6 months off or whatever. It's not happening. So just NBA already on top of their game, as they always are, but already on the very tip top of their game. Let's move on to the defensive player of the year. I got Giannis. It will be between him and Anthony Davis. I don't know if Anthony Davis is going to play enough games. He's already out tonight. And it'll also be, well, if we're not giving Giannis MVP, let's give him the defensive player of the year. So Giannis for my DPOY once again.
I'm going to take Anthony Davis. I think that
We
the
flipped
fatigue
from last
side is going to be the load management. I think is going to be more on LeBron than Anthony Davis. I think we're going to see a lot of Anthony Davis solo Laker games this year, and he'll have to be the defensive anchor for that.
Well, not about Anthony Davis, about the load management thing. Since the beginning of last year, LeBron has been very vocal about, I don't believe in load management, which, by the way, LeBron, I'm calling you on your bullshit. I don't normally do it. I'm doing it here. You're like one of the OGs of load management. But he followed through on it last year. He rarely sat out a game. He twisted his ankle on Christmas, could have easily sat out tonight against the Timberwolves, and isn't. So I don't think there's going to be a huge number of games from LeBron with his load management. I think they know they can get Anthony Davis those games off without it being a huge story in the media. And I also think Anthony Davis, even though LeBron's 100, needs those games off. He's a little bit more fragile. He's not the Iron Man of all Iron Men. But that's funny. We actually flipped. Last year, you had Giannis. I had Anthony Davis.
Who was right last year?
You.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying about. First of all, I agree with you that LeBron is a load management OG. LeBron's load management is that he doesn't come back on defense that much, not as much as he could. There's a statistic where
even that went away last
his
year.
Coverage of the court from end to end is like the least of any player in the NBA. I think that we'll see more LeBron load management. That's going to have to come from coaching.
We're 2 days. We're 2 days off of him saying once again, I don't believe in load management.
I think it's going to be different this year. I think we're going to see it more across the league as a whole. I think everybody's going to miss 5 games this year, no matter what.
Don't you think LeBron knows not to set himself up? He would have just not said anything.
Yeah, so if we're doing LeBron media narrative update, he says that, and then when his coach does it, he says, it's not my decision, it's out of my hands.
Yeah. By the way, good job, BSO, Black Sports Online, who Robert Little, who has always just been the worst, tried to report on a story today. We're only touching on this for 1 second because that's all it deserves. Tried to report today that Bronny James, who liked Larsa Pippen's picture on Instagram a few days ago, Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, who's with Malik Beasley now and like half of the rest of the NBA, tried to report that Bronny James is 16, is dating her right now. And for the first time in the history of LeBron's career, Savannah James basically said, you got the wrong one on this one. And then LeBron came back on his Instagram and was just like, oh, man, they woke up Savannah. So that website's going down and it's going down too. They made the wrong enemy. And by the way, what a shit thing to post. What a shit thing to post. But
Bronny James is about to become Princess Diana for guys who have sunglasses on in their Twitter bios.
I don't understand the joke.
There's going to be a lot of like Bronny James Tribune style stories where because he got caught smoking weed, right? And he got grounded. Well, that's going to open the floodgates for Bronny James got abducted by aliens. Bronny James is dating Larsa Pippen. Bronny James is, I don't know, base jumping in the Andes instead of going to practice. Like, whatever. I think he's about to kind of enter that zone.
He's got the ultimate teacher on how to stay away from that stuff, though. So.
Yeah, I think so. But I don't know. I if anything, having your dad be like the guy who's like stay out of the spotlight might push him more towards the spotlight. I don't know.
We haven't seen that so far, to be fair. He hasn't. He definitely. I mean, he's got like a Twitter and all that, but he's a normal 16-year-old kid. We haven't really seen him be the spotlight guy. But anyways, I'm done talking about.
We're spending too much time on Bronny James.
6th man of the year. You're first.
Keldon. Oh wait, sorry, that's not. You go first for six man. I almost just gave away a different award.
Okay, Dennis Schroeder. This is going to be the one award the Lakers get. They're already talking contract extension with him. He went 7 of 11 the other night. He fits in so well on this team. He's going to start like some of the time, but I think Caruso is better in the starting lineup for what he does, and I think Schroeder is perfect for when LeBron's not in the game, especially if it's like an Anthony Davis and Schroeder lineup. That pick and roll duo is nasty. Trez and Schroeder pick and roll is nasty, but I mean they legitimately have the 2 best bench guys in the NBA in Trez and Schroeder, who obviously were 1 and 2 in the 6th man of the year voting last year. But I think it goes to Schroeder, who's going to be around the same numbers as last year, which is incredibly impressive with all the talent on this roster.
So Schroeder's not starting? Who's starting for the Lakers?
It's like going to be between him and Caruso. It's going to kind of flip-flop.
I'd be surprised.
But you got to remember, again, Schroeder will probably get more minutes than Caruso.
Yeah.
Caruso
the Manu Ginobili style award.
On top of that, just a little buff for Alex Caruso. Out of all LeBron's teammates ever, his highest on-off plus-minus with any teammate that he's ever played with, net rating-wise, is Alex Caruso. So,
which is weird. So I'm going to go with Spencer Dinwiddie, assuming he doesn't get traded. Because I think that what's going to propel the Nets this year, assuming their roster stays the way that it is going to be their second unit's ability to extend leads and close games out in a lot of ways. And I think that's going to be Dinwiddie, unless they decide to go full on with LeVert as the ultimate 6-man. I think it's going to be Dinwiddie. There are a couple of guys who I like this year for that award. Brandon Clark might be interesting, depending on what that team looks like. He was awesome last year. Will be better this year. I don't really have any sense for how I feel that team's going to be. So if he's really good and they're solid, I like his odds. You said Montrezl Harrell, right? That's always kind of in the ether. I don't know if I think he'll win with the Lakers, but he'll be involved in the conversation.
Also, 2 things I don't know if I clarified well enough. 1, Schroeder is starting right now. 2, I guess 3 things total. 2, he's not going to be starting all year. I just don't think so. Vogel is going to realize the best lineups are with him on the bench. And 3, I don't think we should leave Derrick Rose's name out of this discussion either, because he's going to be getting 25, 30 minutes and putting up some big numbers.
So I guess I almost gave this away, but he's 55-1 odds to win 6th man of the year, and I think he's going to win most improved player of the year, and it is Keldon Johnson of the San Antonio Spurs. How do you feel about that? Keldon Johnson going to come out this year and score 18 a game off the bench and be awesome.
Sounds like you just want one of these Spurs guys to be good, and you're striking out for 3 straight years.
One of them is gonna like have a huge breakout this year. I genuinely think that we're in for like some interesting Spurs breakout years. Lonnie Walker has been really good so far.
I guarantee, I'm not even 100% sure this is true what I'm looking up, but I'm sure when I go look at it, it will be.
Okay, good.
Today,
good.
LaMarcus Aldridge took 14 shots, and DeMar DeRozan took 17 shots.
Yeah.
I mean, they are taking so far the most shots per game in the NBA by quite a wide margin. I think they had 100 shots the other night. So
those
they're
long
shooting.
Rebounds from those long twos, man. They're just getting their own offensive boards from all those long twos.
And I mean, Keldon Johnson did get 15 shots, but he only made 5 of them tonight. So, or last night, excuse me.
We'll see. He was awesome in the bubble, by the way. He was kick-ass in the bubble. Sorry, go ahead.
My most improved player is somebody who I have done a fair amount of shitting on during his first year. But now we're in year 2. And what I've seen these first 2 games from him is exciting, and that is Darius Garland.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so 21.5 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists through the first 2 games. Dropped another 15 and 6 tonight. They're putting the ball in his hands. It's him and Sexton. They're going to be running out a lineup of him, Sexton, Larry Nance Jr., Andre Drummond, and Kevin Love. So essentially they're putting these point guards with the 2015 Detroit Pistons or whatever the hell year it was that we had fucking Smith, Moose, and Dre. Pre-2015, actually. But they're basically running that lineup with 2 guys who can really handle the ball, who can really do their thing. And I really like Darius Garland this year. I think it's going to be a big, big breakout. Sexton looks good too. I just think Sexton is a forever sixth man. He's a starter now, but I think what his career story will be is a forever sixth man. And Darius Garland's going to show he's the first cornerstone that the Cavs have, and they're hoping Isaac Okoro is going to be the second.
We declared the Cavs dead. We literally gave them a eulogy on the predictees, but maybe a little early. It might be Chetty Osman season. Who knows?
All right. Well, best case scenario, they're twitching. They're like twitching, and you're like, are they alive or is gas escaping?
If the paramedic gets here quick enough, we might be able to pull this one back from the brink.
All right. Give me your coach of the year.
Coach of the year. So I actually kind of thought that there might be a chance that Steve Kerr would pull out like a great coach of the year, but I've watched the first two games.
Answer, I swear to God, if you say Greg Popovich, I would jump through this.
No. As much as I would love that, no, I don't think so. I think it's going to be Steve Nash.
Okay. All right. They're going to have to win a lot of games because
I think that they might.
A good team's coach to win, you got to exceed expectations still.
Yep.
I think they might too. I still don't think they're a title team, and I honestly think the Bucks are coming out of the East, but I do think that they might exceed expectations in the regular season. I think you're either going to love or hate my answer. Stan Van Gundy. I think the New Orleans Pelicans.
I disagree with it.
I think the Pelicans are the perfect team for Stan Van Gundy to coach. Every single person on that roster, except for JJ Redick, can play defense. Every single person pretty much can pass the ball. They do exactly what he wants. They're all hard work, like blue-collar type players who are just going to go out and get it. He's got Zion, who's going to be like his modern-day version of Dwight. And Zion's going to be 23, 24 points, 10, 11 rebounds a game this year. Just book it. He's that good. And I think this Pelicans team is going to be like the fifth seed in the West. And everybody's going to be absolutely shocked. And Stan Van Gundy is going to say, yeah, I'm pretty good at this still.
So I don't disagree with you that Stan Van Gundy isn't going to be a good coach. I think he is going to be a good coach. I think he did find the right team. And I think that the coach of the year thing will probably come from like if they become a top 5 defensive team, which they added Steven Adams. So like it's not out of the realm of possibility. But I don't know if I think that this team, how good would they have to be for him to win Coach of the Year? They'd have to be like a 4 or a 5 seed
or
in the
6
West.
seed. Yeah, I mean, if they make the playoffs, I think he's in the running.
I don't think that does it. They almost made the playoffs last year.
Billy Donovan won the Coach of the Year last year, right?
So we can't come in and do the exact same thing, but maybe 5% better and win Coach of the Year.
Why not?
That's just the Zion difference. That's just the difference in having Zion for a full year.
Let's not act like the Thunder weren't 9 guys deep, though. Like, the Thunder had a sweet roster, and they had Chris Paul, one of the greatest point guards of all time. Nah, I don't know about that. I think that team's going to suck this year. But they got Shea. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he's a shoo-in. I'm not saying that. But I think he's going to elevate this team to where they're almost going to be like the Mavs of last year, and everybody's going to be like, oh, shit, okay, we knew they were going to be like, they were like on their way, but they might be a year or two ahead of schedule. And Brandon Ingram is really fucking good.
Yeah, he's
really
awesome.
Good. 28, 11, and 6 tonight.
Ball handling, too. I mean, he just does it all.
Yeah, so really, I can't wait to see Stan Van Gundy win that award.
Since we're here, I want to talk about, like, I think the Brooklyn Nets are going to win the title this year. I watching 2 games, if they can keep everybody, if Steve Nash can keep everybody like together, like on the same page, and keep Kyrie from going totally overboard, if the way that this is shaping up, I feel the sports movie narrative forming in my brain right now. And they have the talent, man. They have the talent. I don't think they should make any trades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, tonight, Kevin Durant scored 29 on 9 of 15 shooting, and Kyrie scored 25 on 10 of 17, and then they proceeded to lose to the Charlotte Hornets. So, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. That's doesn't look good for my argument there, but
damn, I just made a good point.
I think that they'll be the 1 or 2 seed in the East, and I think that they'll be a more playoff-ready team than a lot of other teams. Assuming they don't like kill each other. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they're going to, by the way. They're going to kill each other. And if KD and Kyrie might not kill each other, but every other player on that team is going to be like, I hate these guys. I hate them so much. They're so annoying. Like, all they do is talk about shit that doesn't make sense. That's going to be the whole season in that locker room. And then, like, Spencer Dinwiddie, who's a very, very, like, a real smart person. Like a guy who, if he wasn't in the NBA, would be making a ton of money right now anyways, is going to be listening to these guys talk and try to be Zen masters, and he's just going to be like, I don't care. I don't, like, literally nothing you say matters.
So that also backs up my Steve Nash for Coach of the Year argument, I think, is if he pulls all those weirdos together. That's a Phil Jackson
I think he could. I think Steve
Zen
Nash is,
era. Yeah.
He's that type of guy from what I've seen on TV. You want to just say the Rookie of the Year winner on 3?
Hold on. Let me make sure that okay.
All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. James
LaMelo?
Wiseman.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it could be James Wiseman now. I think I might actually agree with you. You just kind of caught me in the moment. If LaMelo puts up like 4 off the backboard alley-oops this year, though, it might not be possible, stats aside.
Yeah, but if they're playing him 4 minutes a game, like, or even 20, like they are. I mean, Wiseman's 18.5 and 7 so far. He's like, honestly, might be their number 2 option on offense at this moment.
Probably
and when
is.
Dre comes back, we all know how good Dre is at finding the big man cutting and throwing him a lob. If he was doing that with Andrew Bogut 4 times a game, imagine what he's going to do with a 7'1" guy with out of the world athleticism in James Wiseman. So I think he's going to be awesome. I mean, he's already shown the ability to hit a 15, 16-footer. I think he's already taken a couple of threes.
Yeah, he did. His stroke looks nice too. All things considered.
Yeah, he's shooting like 80% from 3 on 5 attempts.
His release point is so high, he can just like kind of hang out there. Like it's a slow release, but it looks good. It's like fast through here, and he gets to like here, and it kind of like goes into slow motion.
I'm sorry, I need to find this real quick. It's going to take me 1 minute.
Do you though?
Yeah, mostly for my own, not even for the show quality. He went 3 of 4 from 3 the other night.
Yeah.
He went 1 of 1 tonight. Dude, he's going to be so good. He's going to be so freaking good, dude.
Yeah, I really liked
right
what
away.
I saw from Anthony Edwards too, and he appears to be starting over D'Angelo Russell, which I also think is interesting.
Are you sure?
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, D'Angelo Russell is coming off the bench against the Pistons.
I told you I didn't see that game, this first half. I watched the second half. I was working still. Very weird 3 minutes. That doesn't make any sense to me. But anyways, yeah. So that's our award winners. I like mine. I think I got them all right.
I like mine. I think I got them all right.
Gonna do some quick pitch.
Quick pitch.
Quick pitch. All right, first thing.
Quick pitch.
Oh, we already talked about my first and second thing. Okay, third thing. The Clippers were down 50 points at halftime today against the Mavericks. They scored 27 points in the first half. I know Kawhi Leonard didn't play. I don't care. Paul George was on the floor.
By the way, why is Kawhi Leonard not playing already?
Because he's Kawhi Leonard, dude. He's a sad sack of shit. I'm sorry. I crossed the line. That was unnecessary.
He's sponsored by Reebok, so it's not like he's like filled with joy.
Yeah, that's very true. So we've seen the Clippers beat the Lakers and then lose by 50. What are they going to be this year?
They're going to be like a 3rd seed.
Yeah, I don't think they're
going to be
seed.
exactly what everybody thinks they are.
And then they're going to lose in the second round of the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's what I think too. But that's just wild to me because, especially coming from you, nerd, Mr. Clippers are the greatest team of all time 12 months ago.
I am out on the Clippers now.
Good.
I have been spurned. I am a woman scorned.
Root for them. I hope you're not rooting for them. I hope you're not rooting for that sorry team. And then they also, like, today, I mean, part of the reason that they lost by 50, according to Paul George, was because they had to celebrate Christmas yesterday, and then they had a day game today. Yeah, yes. The greatest excuse maker of all time, Paul George. After literally every game, he has an excuse. It blows my mind. Just shut up. Just say I suck today. That's all you have to say. Everybody be like, oh, at least he knows it. But instead, he's like, we celebrated Christmas yesterday. I drank too much eggnog, and then we had to play at 2 o'clock. Like, what are you doing?
Not like that was a surprise either. They knew that was the deal.
But it is pretty funny that they had to play at 2:00 because the Lakers are playing in the same building at 10:00.
The Clippers just continue to be the least mentally tough, least interested all-star NBA team. It's crazy.
Yep. All right. Travis Kelce today set the single-season tight end receiving yards record. When it's all said and done, with his quarterback, who's probably going to end up being the greatest of all time, Patty Mahomes, will Travis Kelce go down as the GOAT tight end?
Are you saying until TJ Hawkinson retires?
Yes, of course.
Then yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's like him, Antonio Gates, and who am I forgetting?
Him, Antonio Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez.
I guess you could throw Antonio Gates and Gronk.
Oh yeah, Gronk too. So I think he's. I personally think that like Gronk didn't play enough football to be in the GOAT discussion. I think he's fourth, and then I think it's probably Antonio Gates third.
We can't put Kelce in there yet if that's our.
He's got more. He's been around longer and will continue to be around. I think for at least a few more years, right? So
yeah, for sure.
He's gonna be. How long has he been in the league for? 6 years, 5 years.
That sounds right.
It already feels kind of undisputed for him as the number one tight end in the last 10 years now. So in a few years when we're going, damn, how long has Travis Kelce been awesome for? Yeah, he's gonna reach 11 years, and I mean
he's 31, and tight ends play forever for skilled position players. I mean, Antonio Gates played till he was like damn near 40. Tony Gonzalez played till he was like damn near 40. Gronk's the only one who didn't, and that's just because he just gets hurt all the time. And he's back obviously now, and he's not what he was, but he's like at least a decent tight end still. So I think he will. I think he'll end up being the GOAT tight end. He's far and away the best tight end in football right now. It's just the only thing that's hard to gauge is how much of that is Travis Kelce and how much of that is Patty Mahomes. I think a lot of it's Travis Kelce, but there's obviously a boost from Patty Mahomes. Just how much of a boost is that? Okay, I got one I think you'll like. I may have DM'd you this on Twitter earlier. I don't remember. Bleacher Report, in their final regular season mock draft, had the Lions taking, before today, so they were still picking 11th, had the Lions taking, and not only taking, but had this guy fall to them at number 11, Justin Fields. Even at 11.
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't think he's going to get there. So,
if he does, if he did.
If Justin Fields is there at 11, yes, I would take him.
Okay. That's really all I have to ask. I would too. If you pass, you're kind of. I know we started the show by saying we don't need to take a quarterback right now. But if you were picking 11th or 10th and Justin Fields is there and you don't take him, that's pretty dumb.
If fate conspires to give you a quarterback, you do not say no to that.
Right.
But there's just no way. There's too many teams early in that draft who need quarterbacks. And we've seen it especially where even quarterbacks who aren't that good get overdrafted. That's what the NFL does right now.
Yeah.
So Jared Goff.
It was pretty much the reasoning was the Jets are going to go offensive tackle because they'd rather see what they got with Darnold for one more year with a better O-line than take anybody besides Lawrence. Which I actually don't hate that idea. The Jets need an offensive line. What's the point of drafting a rookie quarterback who's not Trevor Lawrence if they're not going to have a millisecond in the pocket to do it?
Jets need a lot of things.
Yeah, of course, but especially an offensive line. All right, the last thing
didn't the Jets take Mekhi Becton in the first round this year?
Yeah, you can have one guy.
Oh man, guys. Still though,
I'm totally cool with back-to-back first-round offense.
I know that's just not. That's not where you want to. That's just bad. That's not good. That you have to spend the second pick and the 8th pick in back-to-back years on offensive linemen, and then your offensive line is still bad, even if those.
Do you have to, or are you doing it so you have both the tackle positions locked up for the next 10 years?
I mean, they definitely needed to take one this past year, and it didn't even do anything.
I mean, you've been as strong of an advocate as anybody for trying to win a Super Bowl with a quarterback on a rookie contract. Which you do by building the team first and then drafting your quarterback.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't hate that route if they went. All right. Last thing I want to do tonight. Bleacher Report came out with an article of 12 bold predictions for the NBA season. So I cherry picked 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've cherry picked 5 of them. And I want to know good chance, medium chance, or no chance that it happens. First one, James Harden is traded to the Pelicans. which, by the way, would win my Stan Van Gundy Coach of the Year award prediction.
No chance. I think the Pelicans are gonna roll with what they got this year, more or less.
I'm going to say medium chance only because that team has so many damn assets. They got assets everywhere. They can, if they want to, they can make as good of a package as anybody.
James Harden on Bourbon Street would be pretty legendary.
And by the way, I love Brandon Ingram. I would trade him tomorrow for James Harden to package him and Zion and see what he can do. James Harden took the Kevin Durant Warriors to 7 games. We gotta stop. We gotta stop sleeping on the guy because he likes to party.
I am not the guy who does the sleeping on James Harden. You're saying that you would deal both Ingram and Zion to get James Harden?
No,
is that what you said? Okay, that's why I was making a face.
I wouldn't trade Zion at all because I think Zion's got 15 years if he can stay healthy of being an MVP candidate. But
okay,
Ingram plus even like Lonzo, just give him the Lakers guys. Give him the Lakers guys and a draft pick and call it a day.
Okay.
I mean, does like Harden, Steven Adams, Zion. Let me think what the starting lineup would be. You got Harden, you got Steven Adams, you got Zion. Obviously,
Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, Jackson Hayes, who looks like he's going to be a really good young player. Who would your? Oh, you got Eric Bledsoe at point guard.
Oh yeah, you'd probably have to deal Bledsoe to make the contracts work, right?
I don't know. There's a lot of low. Oh, yeah, probably because of Steven Adams. So fine. Then you keep Lonzo and put Bledsoe in the deal instead. You still have Nickeil Alexander-Walker on the bench. There's still some good players. Kira Lewis Jr., who you drafted in the lottery this year. I think that team can compete for a title if Harden's there. I don't really think it should be. I don't think there's an argument against it when you look at the team he's competed with titles for, with what players have been around him.
Yeah.
All right. This one is the one that I'm gonna go first here. Draymond Green will get traded to the Atlanta Hawks. No chance.
I don't even know why the Hawks would want a declining asset like that. That like that's like 3 years left on his contract. They're gonna have to pay him. He's a free agent this year, right? I
don't think it's this year. But
you're gonna have to pay Draymond, and he's not gonna.
No,
regardless, what you pay him for.
The reason they would want him is because you don't have to give anything up. The situation I think would be, along the lines of, we're at the All-Star break. The Hawks are the 4 seed in the East or the 5 seed in the East. Let's go get this other guy and see if we can be the Miami Heat. Yeah, he's signed through. He's got a player option in 23-24. So
for
that
how
even
much?
makes it a little bit worse. $27 million.
Oh my gosh. No.
It'll only be 33.
Big no.
You sure you don't want to roll the dice and see if you can have Steph and Draymond again, but Trey and Dre, the shirts sell themselves, dude.
No, yeah, but not $33 million worth of shirts.
$27 million worth of shirts.
Oh, it doesn't sell that many shirts either.
How many millions of dollars worth of shirts does it sell?
5 million. It's only your market is the city of Atlanta and people who like Draymond Green. So.
Whoa, there's a big Trae Young fan base out there.
Yeah, but they mostly, I think, are all in Atlanta. Or, I mean, I guess that market is also kids who have their parents' credit cards. So I guess I could see them maybe selling $8 or $9 million worth of shirts.
All right, I think there's no chance, but I actually don't hate the idea. If the contract was 1 year shorter, I'd be all in on the idea.
Yeah, it's a lot. Can they even afford that?
Yeah, I'm sure.
You have to give something up. They've got like Gallo and it's a pretty big contract.
But Trae Young's on a tiny little contract, so I'm sure you can make something work.
Tiny little guy plays tiny little defense.
Tiny little guy. All right, number 3. Steph will get the Warriors to the playoffs. Good chance, medium chance, no chance. Which one?
Good chance. I think that they make the playoffs. I know they look shit terrible right now, but I think they'll make the playoffs.
Low end, medium chance. Very low end. I don't think they're going to the playoffs. Steph can be Steph. Steph can do what he wants. But 1, Steve Kerr's system just isn't going to work with this roster. And 2, there's going to be a 2-week injury for Steph somewhere in here. He has one every year. And 3, when Klay Thompson's not there, Steph Curry just isn't as good. And that's not his fault. It's just impossible for NBA teams to cover the 2 greatest shooters to ever step foot on a basketball court at the same time. So I'm going to say low end, medium chance, closer to no chance.
I wouldn't bet against them in a playoff tournament. That's for sure.
You know, like in a
When they
playoff
do the
series.
No, when they do the playoff tournament again this year.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's if the Warriors are in that, that's who I want to win.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you got Steph Curry,
That's what I'm saying.
Wins or whatever. Yeah, sure. Next one, Jokic will have a better season than Anthony Davis.
Well, maybe statistically, but the Lakers are going to win more games, win a title. So, so I guess medium chance, right?
Medium
if I'm
chance.
splitting it down
Medium
the middle.
Chance, yeah. And the Nuggets already look noticeably worse. I still think they're really good, but they do look worse without their two backup big guys.
They kind of put all their eggs in the Michael Porter's our guy now.
It's the team that should be trying harder than anybody to trade for James Harden.
Yeah, absolutely.
And keep Jamal Murray, by the way, because if you pair those two shot makers, can you imagine three of the craziest shot makers in the league? All three can handle the ball. All three can pass. They all do weird things that you don't really know how to guard because you never see it. I love it. I love that idea.
Team most likely to have Sweet Georgia Brown play in their stadium.
The final one, Damian Lillard will win the MVP. No chance. No chance.
He would have won it any of the last 4 years before this if he was going to win.
This I think was the last one on the article.
No offense to Dame.
And I forget. Do you have this article pulled up?
Yeah.
Who wrote it?
It looks like different people wrote different parts of it. It's an aggregated article.
Okay.
A couple of different writers.
Okay, so then they were all sitting in a room, and they're like, come on, they told us we need 12, I think was the number. Like, we only got 11. Ah, shit. All right, Dave will win MVP. Put it on there. People will talk about it. And look, us dumbasses are sitting here talking about it. He's not winning MVP. He's not going to be top 3. He's not going to be top 4. He's not going to be top 5. He's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
but
not this year.
He's not going to win the MVP. So.
If he was going to win an MVP, he would have done it last year during weird bubble, no LeBron, where like no Steph Curry, no KD MVP year. James Harden on the downswing. That's the year he could have snuck an MVP award out. But he's not going to do it in full-strength NBA year like this.
Yeah, I agree completely. So that's the 5 I cherry-picked right there. That was kind of fun. But when I read through them, I realized a lot of them were kind of just off the wall, more so than bold predictions.
Getting them clicks.
Got to. You got anything else? I got a stuffy nose. Running it down like a fly ball. Center field, Comerica Park. It only went 419. Thanks for watching Fan2Fan Detroit. We'll see you next week. Subscribe to us on iTunes and Spotify. Bye.
Bye.